Politics.
Yay.
It's Latin for many. Now suck your blood.
Politics.
Not just any politics, but politics through the eyes.
Hold on. We got to do their speak bite message. We had a producer who intercepted a very secret message.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
A politician.
Oh my gosh.
To the elite lizard people.
Oh.
And so, yes, I want to thank producer Cool Runnings Man, who has really gone deep undercover. He's working hard to bring us messages from the deep state. And he received this and sent it into us via our voice messages. Let's let's roll the tape.
Hello, is this thing on? Hello, this is Senator Bernie Sanders. If you are listening to this message and you are of the very top 1%,
what?
Just know that the folks at Canary News Talk are against you. And I know this because I was shared a 5.5-hour podcast from a homeless man with googly eyes.
Oh, he listened.
And he is very much against the top 1%. And he thinks outside the cage. Thank you.
Thank you, Cool Runnings Man, for this intercepted message from allegedly or apparently, evidently, a drunk Bernie Sanders. Somehow, Cool Runnings Man is really good at catching these politicians at their most intoxicated point. But that's a really useful tool for a citizen journalist like Cool Runnings Man, who intercepted this message from Bernie Sanders to the lizard people, to the top 1%, where apparently we are a topic of conversation among the top 1% and other lizard people. Gonz.
I don't like being used as political fodder for Bernie's arguments. Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't feel good. You know, it feels like the truth of our show is being twisted for political reasons, and I don't like that.
They're on to us, man. Yeah, I've yet to see him come out with an official press release about how he listens to the show, but apparently he listened to last episode, which was our longest episode in a long time. So at least
this one will be just as long if we don't keep moving.
And we're going to keep moving. But thank you very much to Cool Runnings Man for bringing us that message. And if anybody out there wants to leave us an audio message, go to CanaryCry.Talk.com. On the right hand side, there's a tab where you can click on it and record a 90-second message just for us. A great place to upload any intercepts you may receive from politicians. If you want to report on a story that you want us to cover on the show, that's a great way to do it. Or you can just say hi to Canarians, ask questions, all sorts of good stuff. CanaryCry.Talk.com. Click on the green tab on the right of the page. Okay. And thank you, Bernie Sanders, for getting that buzz marketing going about the podcast amongst the 1%.
Yep. And so for today, we're going to do some politics here through the eyes of the one and only Shillzilla.
Shill for sure.
Take it away, sir.
Yes. Okay. So we've been lonely without Shillzilla. The
tested
man.
Positive. He was COVID. It was COVID, Chris.
He was COVID. He was COVIDed and laying low. But today we are happy to announce a tweet from Chris Shillzilla on Twitter, simply saying "back at it" and a selfie. A selfie of himself in what looks to be the CNN television studios, which is not a place he's usually at. He's more of a YouTube guy, but apparently somehow he snuck into the studio to try to get on the CNN proper. And Gonzo,
yep.
It is not an exaggeration to say that Twitter is not a fan.
Twitter hates Chris Shillzilla.
Twitter is not a fan of this selfie of Chris Shillzilla. So I'll read my comment later.
Okay.
But, some comments. There's the comments on Chris Shillzilla's selfie here read as follows. I'll go in order.
Okay.
I say this with love. Eat it, says Owen. Ray says, with nice frames, Warby Parkers. Okay. Ty says, you're not wearing your MAGA hat? Treason Stickers says, nobody cares.
Nobody cares that Chris is back. That's mean.
Somebody did come to Chris's defense here. Allison says, honestly, how does anyone deal with these nasty commenters? Their homes must be a mess. No time for chores with all the snark and meanness needing to be tweeted. Sheesh. Which I love this comment. What a wholesome sort of way to deal with the trolls. What is up with all these mean trolls? Their house must be filthy.
That sounds like something my mother would say.
Yeah, good burn, Allison.
That's exactly what my mother would say. Like, look at these horrible people. Oh, their house must be so dirty.
Yeah.
Like, what? What does that have to do with anything? But okay.
Jack says you need a better assistant helping with your lipstick. Burn. He is wearing a little bit of lipstick, though. You can tell.
He is a little bit.
Christopher says fake news never rests. I'm just going in order, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm only skipping. I only skipped one so far.
Okay.
Dr. Shep says they give Shillzilla 3 minutes in air every 6 weeks or so, then send his butt right back to YouTube.
The YouTube downgrade.
Yeah, the guy is a bigger joke than Stelter, says Christopher. And Dr. Shep comes in again.
Hey, to be fair, I'd rather hear from Shillzilla than Stelter, just to be clear.
That's a good, we like Shillzilla much better than Stelter. And Dr. Shep comes in again. He couldn't get it all out in that first tweet. He had to leave another one. Said, should have left the second chin at home. Oh. Burn, just a bunch of body shamers.
So mean.
And that concludes the comments, except for one.
Yeah.
Which I came in.
Yeah, and you responded,
I felt a little defensive, okay? Chris Shillzilla, he's my guy. That's my beat. Okay, everybody, you don't come in and start body shaming my Shillzilla. I just left a tweet here. It says, guys, stop face shaming my man Shillzilla. Instead, lovingly criticize his absurd careerism and shameless clickbait paranoia politics. Let's be adult about this. With the top-down changes at CNN, no lie, I'm going to miss my man Chris. Have they offered a CNN Plus show yet?
Oh, you're predicting his departure already.
This is the most constructive and caring comment on Chris Shillilla's selfie here. Let it be known, put it on the record, that I had the most loving and caring comment on his selfie, albeit, some with love, some honesty that he needed to hear. So there you go. He's back in action. He's at the studio. He snuck into the studio somehow. And he's also tweeted a article with the caption "Holy CRAP."
Holy poop
was his tweet here, and a link to a CNN article written by Brian Stelter.
Oh, the master!
I know,
he must bow to the master. I like how I like the thought of Shillzilla walking back into studio, tweeting, "I'm back," and then refreshing a few minutes later, seeing people hate on him, and then googly-eyed man come to his defense, and then Jeff Zucker, the president, resigns. Like, oh my gosh, the world is falling apart.
CNN president Jeff Zucker resigns over consensual relationship with key lieutenant. And so Chris Shillzilla is shocked that Jeff Zucker, president of CNN, is resigning. By the way, he was already out. He's on his last year of being there. We learned this when the ownership and control of CNN came through. We knew that Jeff Zucker was out. He's the guy who turned CNN into the useless cesspool that it is now. So we knew he was out, but he's resigning early over having a consensual relationship with a key lieutenant. And yes, I agree. I like the idea of Chris finding out the same way we did, which is Twitter. It's Twitter. Which is very possible.
While he's in the studio. While he's in the studio. Like, everyone's going, like, what's going on? What's going on? Refresh your Twitter, Chris.
Yeah. I don't think Chris is on the phone tree that alerts people.
The group text. He's not included.
He's not on the group text. Yeah. Okay. So big news over at CNN.
Yeah.
CNN President Jeff Zucker resigns over consensual relationship with key lieutenant. CNN Worldwide President Jeff Zucker, the influential news executive. I love it. It's his own website, his own news, his own news company is reporting him to be an influential news executive who reshaped the iconic network. Announced Wednesday morning.
Reshaped it into a nice shiny
a monstrosity
turd. It was an
abomination against journalism and a force for evil and hatred between, which, got him the extra bonuses and gets him some special government attention, things like that. Anyways, he announced Wednesday morning that he has resigned from his position effective immediately. Zucker's stunning announcement came less than 2 months after he fired primetime anchor Chris Cuomo for improperly advising his brother, then New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, about how to address sexual misconduct allegations.
Stop.
Dun, dun, dun.
Stop.
What?
It's Cuomo primetime.
Yeah.
I do it with everyone.
The show's over. We have to use every opportunity to play that jingle.
We need to play that every opportunity. We had that jingle for like a month before the show got canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, this happened this morning, the same day that Chris Shillzilla snuck into the studio and posted a selfie. Quote, as part of the investigation into Chris Cuomo's tenure at CNN, I was asked about a consensual relationship with my closest colleague, someone I have worked with for more than 20 years. Zucker told employees in a memo, quote, I acknowledge the relationship evolved in recent years. I was required to disclose it when it began, but I didn't. I was wrong. As a result, I'm resigning today. Oh,
really?
You, Jeff, you knew that when you didn't disclose it, that would take away the naughtiness. It's much more fun to keep it a secret. You thought you could get away with it. I wonder if, okay, let's keep going.
I like how CNN just doxes her too. This next sentence.
Yeah. Zucker did not name his colleague, but the relationship is with Allison Gollust, his key lieutenant.
Come down the aisle for Zucker.
For the last 2 decades, Gollust is remaining at CNN, so she's staying.
Still there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. CNN, it's like, Zucker did not name the colleague, but we will.
Everybody here knows that it's Allison.
It was Allison. Zucker and Gollust began working together at NBC in 1998. They rose through the ranks at the network together. And when Zucker joined CNN, Gollust was among his first hires. Just before coming to CNN, Gollust had worked briefly as a communications director for Andrew Cuomo. Uh-oh. She is currently executive vice president and chief marketing officer at CNN. Wow. So what is this crazy love triangle between CNN, Chris Cuomo, Allison Gollust, Jeff Zucker, and Andrew Cuomo? They're all in this. I guess it's not a triangle. It's more of like a
square.
It's a square. A hexagon.
Hexagon, sure. How many people?
There's too many good things going on here. Too many connections, which, is interesting because, what in the world? So Chris Cuomo got in trouble for helping Andrew Cuomo, and Jeff Zucker got in trouble for a relationship with Gollust, who is the communications director for Andrew Cuomo. This is a mess. In a statement of her own, Gollust said, quote, Jeff and I have been close friends and professional partners for over 20 years. Recently, our relationship changed during COVID. Ooh. homewrecker COVID. I regret that we didn't disclose it at the right time. I'm incredibly proud of my time at CNN and look forward to continuing the great work we do every day. Zucker and Gonz both divorced from their partners years ago. Rumors that their close working relationship had morphed into a romantic one have long been the subject of speculation and have occasionally surfaced in gossip columns. You mean talked about every day at the water cooler?
Yeah.
The journalist Katie Couric.
Brian Stelter coming in. Hey, you hear about Gonz?
And Chris Shillzilla is like, hey guys, what are you talking about?
What are you guys talking about, guys?
Nothing. Don't tell him. Nothing. He'll put it on his YouTube channel.
Nice double chin, Chris. What if he gets it in person and on Twitter? Poor guy.
How did you get in here, Chris? You know we took away your security pass.
Don't you have COVID?
When you got sent to YouTube. All right.
Okay.
The journalist Katie Couric, who once worked closely with Zucker, but later had a falling out with him, even hinted at it in her tell-all memoir released last year.
Great.
Wow. So it was in a memoir last year.
Yeah.
And it took the Chris Cuomo investigation for anybody to actually
whatever. This is and they talk about Warner Media and how they're merging with Discovery. We talked about that.
Yeah.
This is probably part of the cleanup job here that they were talking about before.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, we want to make sure CNN does objective reporting again. Well, that's not going to happen with Zucker at the helm.
That's exactly
having
right.
romance with whatever marketing
He's
director.
already on his way out.
It's bad. So they need a cleanup job. They need a facelift. So just get all the dirt out, don't do it all at once. We'll fall apart. We'll do the Cuomo, we'll do the Zucker, probably a few more. Stelter might be out, some of these guys might be out, but.
And the clue that gives away exactly what you're talking about is in the next paragraph. He indicated that he would have liked to stay on for a short period, but to help with a smooth transition. But Warner Media wanted otherwise. It's like, okay, I'll stay and I'll help train the new guy. I'll train my replacement and, make for a smooth transition. They're like, nope. Later.
Bye.
This is our chance to get you out of here. Let's see here. According to two people involved with the matter, Zucker was facing termination if he did not resign, of course. Underscoring just how unexpected the news was, some of Zucker's direct reports were out of the office and traveling on Wednesday. Keelar, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot more, and it is all very interesting.
It's
but
drama.
The basic analysis and deconstruction you just laid down the foundation of, which is the takeover, the change, the top to bottom change going on at CNN. We'll see what that looks like in the coming years. But the guy in charge of this at Warner Media, he was involved with the creation of Fox. He's this very interesting fella,
right?
That really spells the possibility of big changes at CNN.
Yeah,
we don't know for sure. I mean, we don't know if this guy is an ideologue who's going to, enforce certain, journalistic standards or just turn it into a different version of horribleness. Only time will tell, but at least the optics of it are that, this should bring some accountability to sort of a liberal monstrosity of a news organization that has lost all credibility.
Well, that's part of it too. There is also, just as a side note here, and people have pointed it out on Fringe Misinformation Twitter, is Jeff Zucker being seen. There's a photo of him allegedly, or somebody that's no, this is not him. This is a picture of Anton Katz and Robin Katz with Ghislaine Maxwell. Attended Sloan Barnett publication party for Green Goes With Everything. It was hosted by Karen and Jeff Zucker in 2008. So there's and this is directly documented on Getty. So, this is a photo of Ghislaine Maxwell with, Anton and Robin, and directly stating that Zucker was the host of this event. So there's a connection there. I mean, who knows how deep that goes, but that could be a good reason for why Discovery's like, all right, this guy's going to He might be part of the the Ghislaine thing is already, she's guilty. But
don't forget the other CNN producer who sort of quietly, well, not even quietly, CNN reported on it. The CNN producer who got busted for grooming minors for like kink stuff.
Right. So there you go.
Paying their mothers to send them to his ski cabin for training and stuff. Chris, so it is not out of the question to make the connection from that CNN producer to Jeff Zucker to Ghislaine Maxwell, the whole thing. I mean, we don't know how much of that is connected.
That could be it too, that Discovery comes and we're doing a cleanup job, because later, maybe a year from now or something, it'll come out that CNN was turned a blind eye to trafficking or something like that. You never know. So that is very interesting, but this is certainly part of the bigger turnover at CNN. It will be interesting to see how it turns out.
Here's a not so great wording within the article later on. Okay. Zucker brought an eye for news and talent. Oh. He also brought a hands-on management style. And gained the trusts and respect of the talent.
Is this in the CNN article?
This is in the CNN article.
Oh, they've got to be sitting there going, yeah, do that. Say that.
Yeah, really lay it on thick.
There's no way. Okay, well, you know what? This isn't about Zucker or CNN, really. This is really actually about Chris Shillzilla.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. This is one more. This is the biggest joke in the entire article. Are you ready for the biggest joke in the article? Mm-hmm. In recent years, Zucker led the network as it faced sustained attacks from former President Trump and his supporters. Under Zucker, CNN adopted a facts first slogan and approach to the news and was unrelenting in calling out Trump for his lies. The facts first slogan and approach.
First slogan.
Yeah.
Wow.
The approach turned Zucker into a villain for Trump when the then president lashing, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can't not write about Trump, even when writing about their own CEO getting fired.
That's why Chris Shillzilla's time at CNN might be short here, because between him returning to the office there, the studio, and finding out that his boss is stepping down and being shocked, he was able to publish this article here. CNN.com, The Point with Chris Shillzilla. I say Shillzilla, but it's Shillzilla. Here are 122 million reasons Donald Trump is the Republican Party, with little stars around is. He is the Republican Party. So weird.
Jeez.
It's a short article, so I'll zoom through it real quick.
Okay, just zoom.
Here's a stunning fact. Former President Donald Trump ended 2021 with $122 million left to spend in his various political accounts. That's not only exponentially more than any previous former president, but is also more than double the $56 million that the Republican National Committee had left in the bank at the end of last year. The massive financial disparity between Trump and the National Party Committee is unprecedented, and it functions as a reminder that the Republican Party is Donald Trump right now. Everything flows through him: money, endorsements, and policy, such as it is. Trump is the sun. Everyone and everything from the RNC to congressional leaders to potential 2024 contenders revolves around him. Even you, Shillzilla, appeared to revolve around Trump with all
I was going to say, seems like the Democrat Party revolves around Trump too.
Yeah. Which is a scary thought for the party, given Trump's demonstrated unpredictability. Just this past weekend, he suggested that if he wins the presidency again, he would consider pardoning those arrested for the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, 2021.
There's also, what's funny is that this isn't even true.
No, none of this is true.
It's just not true. Like the Republican establishment is pretty evenly divided.
Yeah, it's totally divided. He's doing it from a strictly capital perspective. Like, okay, Trump's got more money in the political bank accounts. But here's the other thing too. We've been printing money. Like 40% of the US dollar supply has been printed in the last 2 years.
Right.
Almost half. So yeah, if a dude has some assets, even if it's in like the political accounts, the money's going to go. It's going to go up. Everything went up the last couple of years because of all that printing. So has that been considered, Chris Shillzilla? Have you thought about that? The money printer go burr, and everyone's balance sheets are looking pretty good the last couple of years. I mean, there's been some pullbacks recently because of the Fed and doing all that, but that's a big part of why Trump, always talked about, the economy's doing great and da-da-da. Yeah, sure, the stock market was doing great. It was all because he was printing so much money, and then COVID comes around and he prints more money. So yeah, he's going to be he's going to have the most money by any president ever in a bank account, after his presidency. So anyway, this is something that he's not thinking about. Shillzilla, join the Canary Cry team and you'll learn all the details of understanding yourself better. The last paragraph here.
Bring your 500,000 bots to come listen to the show.
Yeah, we can use some followers. There's also the fact that Trump has shown time and time again that he looks out for himself first, second, and third. If something that is good for him also happens to be good for the broader Republican Party, that's totally fine. But it's simply not his first thought. How does Chris Shillzilla know what the man is thinking? I didn't realize he had psychic powers above his, beyond his just writing ability.
To the analysis and deconstruction of this, what is the point of Chris writing this article? This is CNN.
This is his swan song.
And nobody, no Republican is going to read this and be like, oh, wow, you're right.
That's
Trump
gotta be
blah, blah, blah. He is literally writing this for Democrats, and just to convince Democrats to hate Republicans again and strike fear into their hearts about to make the connection between any Republican that your neighbor, your fellow congregant, your family member. If they are Republican, they are Trump. That's what he's doing. This is a social engineering attempt to connect any conservative person to Trump, which is not necessarily new, but it's just wrong. I mean, like we just said, the Republican establishment is firmly divided about Trump. It is not all about Trump. It's just Chris being Chris again. I got a notification here.
Says, notifications.
Would you like to allow CNN.com to access your virtual reality device? Should I go into the CNN metaverse, Gonz?
I would check on your security measures.
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's my security thing telling me that CNN's trying to hack my metaverse.
Do you get to sit down with Chris Shillzilla? If you can do that, then maybe you might have to do it.
That would
hey, Chris, meet me in the metaverse, bro.
Okay,
let's have a conversation.
The sound of that. Let's work this out, Chrissy Poo. I defended you.
I know. The whole time I'm reading this article, I'm thinking, Basil defended this guy publicly in a tweet. Please keep drilling down deeper, Chris, deeper. Okay.
Here's one more for politics. You want to do this one?
No,
I got to. Okay,
you can do it. Yeah.
It's coming from CNBC.com.
Yeah.
The headline, George Soros says leadership of China's Xi threatened by Omicron and real estate crisis.
Oh, Soros says that.
So that's, again, that is the news. Okay. What is the news in this headline? It's not that Xi is threatened by Omicron and real estate crisis. We know that. The news is that George Soros said this.
This would score some points, right? In the New World Order fantasy league. This is the kind of article that will score points for you. You got Soros in the headline. You got Xi mentioned. This is an example just to kind of tease that whole.
Yeah, has the Soros card come out yet?
I don't remember. I don't
remember either. I gotta look back. Go back and take a look at them. Okay, so here you go. Chinese leader Xi Jinping's position is at risk. Billionaire investor and philanthropist George Soros.
Soros, the philanthropist.
Yeah, speaking via teleconference on a panel with the Hoover Institution on Monday, Soros argued that the Omicron COVID-19 variant, quote, threatens to be Xi Jinping's undoing as the virus, quote, no longer under control in China. Quote, the Chinese vaccines were designed to deal with the original Wuhan variant, but the world is now struggling with other variants, Soros said. Xi Jinping couldn't possibly admit this while he is waiting to be appointed for a third term. He is hiding it from the Chinese people as a guilty secret. You mean kind of like America is hiding it from their people?
Or the medical establishment to the whole world.
Exactly. The Biden administration, the medical industrial complex, everybody is hiding this fact from people because it's their guilty little secret. A spokesperson for the Chinese government was not immediately available to comment when contacted by CNBC.
You got to go through the right channels there. You can't the front room can't just send an email or call someone. You got to get through the right people to get to the source.
Soros claimed that Xi's only available move, therefore, has been to impose China's zero COVID policy. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Which has been criticized for its widespread economic ramifications, both at home and abroad. The Chinese Communist Party. It sounds like the Chinese Communist Party has a very similar attitude to some of us Western nations. The Chinese Communist Party will decide at its National Party Congress this year whether to give Xi a third term in office. But Soros argued Xi's attempts to impose total control over the country via a series of severe lockdowns could jeopardize his chances of being reinstated as the party's leader, as the strategy is, quote, unlikely to work against a variant as infectious as Omicron. So George Soros is saying that complete lockdown of a society is unlikely to help against Omicron. Interesting.
Because part of what sort of my initial gut reaction and to this story, which obviously, it's kind of a common thing, but if George Soros is saying this, then the opposite is true. So Xi's not threatened by Omicron, obviously. There's no real estate crisis. He's not really in threat.
He's just saying on a general complete opposition to what George Soros is saying?
No, I think George Soros is saying things that are untrue.
No. So, okay, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But hear me.
Okay.
It's not about saying the opposite of the truth. That's not how the game works. The game is you do tell the truth, but you tell it in a way that looks good for you and bad for the other guy. Or it looks, you say it in a way that helps your agenda and not the other agenda. That's the real tricky part. It's not the absence of truth that allows for the agenda. It's it is the presence of truth amongst all sorts of other things that makes it the effective manipulation.
Yeah, I don't know. This to me just feels like Soros' public statements to create a certain atmosphere, obviously, against China, but knowing that he's got to know what China's up to and where they're at in their development. And
maybe, he's not necessarily a China guy.
I know he's not openly in China, but Soros isn't even, everybody talks about Soros and he's a billionaire investor and all this kind of stuff. And he's certainly part of the elite, but I don't consider Soros to be this all powerful kind of guy. He's up there, he's older.
No, he's just a rich guy.
He does disrupt nation. There's record. He's done it. We know that there are
overlapping incentives at that level. At the level that he's at, it's not like some big master conspiracy. It's, everybody's got their own game and you just team up with people who have the same enemy as you.
Right. Well, it's because I was, this is the kind of a silly thing to admit, but I was looking at a world map the other day and I was contemplating, the many stories that we've reported, the geopolitics. I was kind of looking at where Ukraine is and Russia. I was just kind of looking at a world map and just seeing the geography of things, which I don't know. Have you done that in a while? Digesting kind of all the stories we look at and all the drama taking place, but then kind of looking at it on a world map to see sort of the movements or whatever. And it was very striking to me that, if China and Russia really combine forces and try to take over everything westward of them, of this like new Western kind of movement. What would Soros want to do? He would want to ride that wave, right? He wouldn't want to go against it necessarily. So that's kind of where my suspicions are with Soros, and the fact that he's being mentioned in an article and quoted and all this stuff by CNBC is kind of suspicious to begin with.
The whole that's what I mean. Speaking of incentives, what is CNBC's incentive for putting out a story where the whole story is George Soros said some stuff
about China,
against China, right? So this is like bringing attention to a Soros China confrontation.
Could this be
I would
Soros?
want to look at what his newest business projects are. Is he trying to get a investment something or other? Why would CNBC be trying to drive a wedge between Soros and China? That's what I want to know.
Do you think maybe, and this is the other possibility, is Soros not just riding the wave of China? Is he trying to sort of, take over is not the right word, because I don't think he can take it over, but be a very strong influence in how they develop or how they take over the West? Or maybe, he knows the writing's on the wall in some regard.
Yeah, it could just be a whole ruse. Who knows?
And he's just trying to play it big because he already knows that China took over everything.
It could be defense. It could be Soros defense. It could be a narrative of, oh, no. Soros isn't friends with China. Look what he said about Xi.
Right.
When in reality, he's on board with the whole thing.
You mentioned what he, investments he might be doing in China. And I'm interested with that too, because he invested in Peloton before the pandemic. And that was a big thing. Like, oh, everyone's getting Pelotons now because everyone's staying home. They want to exercise. And Peloton went straight, crashed. The stock crashed recently, right? So, and I immediately thought of Soros. He's behind. He's rugging his own thing. He's probably pulling out his cash.
Oh, he's probably out already.
He moving? Oh, he's out already. That's what I'm saying. Like he got out, and then word got out, and then the stock crashes. So what's he doing with that liquid? Where is he moving that money?
And exactly.
That's really what comes to mind with this continuing narrative of going against China. This is not new for Soros. He's been on this beat for a while of like, China's bad, can't trust them, whatever, all that whole thing. So interesting to see how this all develops. Keep an eye on